Okay, I'm going to be playing through Resident Evil 6 because it's really interesting, with a lot good and a lot bad about it, and no one seems to have played it. So when you load up Resident Evil 6 for the first time, which I can't demonstrate here because I'm not doing that, it puts you straight into the Prelude chapter. You can replay it, which is what I'm going to do, but it doesn't actually let you go through any option screens or anything first, which means, for example, you can't invert the mouse. If I want to get back into it, I have to go about 7 sub-menus down. So here we have a fairly normal game intro cutscene with the credits over the top as if it was a movie. The interesting thing about this, of course, is that only boring movies do their intro credits like this, so games seem to be trying to emulate boring movies that make you sit and watch nothing happening while the credits are playing. I'm not quite sure why that's something to want to emulate. Director, of course, not hiding what it is they think they're making. It's telling me to look around. At this point, by default, I wouldn't have been able to invert the mouse. It's telling me to hit space a lot. There's something to look at, strangely. There's a helicopter over there, but I can't see it. Oh, there it is. The helicopter looks pretty threatening. At this point, I can't move or turn or do anything. Leon's character development so far in the Resident Evil series has been that his hair has got longer, I think, and more gorgeously floppy.
Come on, it's not over yet.
So now I have camera control and I can move very slowly.
Hang in there, Helena.
But it's, I mean, I'm ragging on it, but it's not actually that bad an intro. I'm intrigued to know what's going on. It started me.
Slow you down. Just go.
You're not getting off that easy. Come on.
Wants me to press V, which is the help out your friend button, so that's a sort of tutorial, I guess. It seems to have started me in the middle of a zombie apocalypse.
It'd be a waste to give up now.
Locked door. He didn't seem to actually try to open the door there. So now it gives me QuickTime events. There are a lot of QuickTime events in this game. Oh, I missed that one. So there's a lot to say about QuickTime events. The only thing that's really worth saying about that one is that that's a sort of precision QuickTime event. You have to push the button at the right time, which doesn't seem like it models the idea of yanking on a metal bar very well. So I'm not quite sure what they're trying to communicate with that. It doesn't feel like it has anything to do with what I was being asked to do narratively. I get the impression that helicopter is still looking for me.
Let's try this way. We're almost through this.
I don't have an inventory or anything. I'm assuming I can't pick anything up at this stage. There's a body. I like that the prompts tell you, or give you a little icon to hint at what it is that's going to happen. So rather than just saying space, it says space to magnifying glass, which pretty clearly means look at this thing.
Let's take a break.
Pacing is a little odd. It's good that it started me in the middle of a zombie apocalypse rather than way before a zombie apocalypse, but there's really nothing happening.
There's gotta be a first aid kit in here somewhere.
Well, that's interesting. First time I played this level, I never looked up. I didn't realise I was outdoors. I sort of interpreted this as the inside of a shed. He does say there's got to be a first aid kit in here.
Makes me sick seeing good soldiers die like this.
Space to exclamation mark. And the green herb. I'd be interested to know if someone who hasn't played a lot of previous Resident Evils understands the significance of a green herb.
Leon, are you there?
Hunnigan,
Good to hear you're okay. Where's Helena?
she's not doing too good. She needs medical attention.
Do you have any herbs left?
A few, but I'm not sure they'll help.
Okay, listen. Just follow my instructions.
She's psychically communicating with me via the in-game HUD. I think that's, if I remember correctly, that's your handler from Resident Evil 4, which creates a nice sense of continuity. That it's Leon and his buddy back on the road again, doing something with someone, we don't know who they are. So it wants me to open this, it tells me select the green herb, select mix, hit that. So what you actually have to do is just hit space 7 times, but the interface seems to be somewhat intuitive based on what I've seen other people do with it.
Hold on, Helena.
Now it's telling me to go up to her and press 1, which means feed my friend some healing.
Too many good agents have died here today. You're not getting added to that list.
Leon.
Damn it, out of ammo!
Another QuickTime event. And actually one that I'm fine with. That weird keyboard light up thing is the equivalent of wiggle the stick like crazy. And it feels like you're fighting off a zombie. I think that's a perfectly acceptable way of fighting off a zombie.
Can't let your guard down for a second.
That was quite nicely pitched so that I only had 3 bullets left, so even if I shot him, you may notice that a headshot doesn't kill a zombie in this game. Even if I shot him, I still had to wrestle with him in melee, so it didn't make any difference whether I hit or missed.
How do you feel?
I think I'm gonna be okay. Thank you.
Leon, what are you doing? You need to get out of there, now!
We're heading to the quad tower.
What? No, it's too dangerous.
There are BSAA agents there with survivors. I can't abandon them.
All right. Then let me help. I'll direct you to the safest route.
Thanks, Hunnigan.
The
I sent
BSAA
over the
is
field guide to your PDA. You can always refer to that in a pinch.
a rather strange thing that tells you which way to go, which I don't recall ever using once in the main game, because it's always really, really obvious, because it's a very linear game. I'm not sure why they felt they needed this feature. So the BSAA is the organisation that Chris is working for in Resident Evil 5, that's a sort of international zombie killing organisation, which is the sort of thing that leads people to believe that the series has lost its roots a little bit, but it's kind of inevitable with such a series. So that again creates a sense of continuity between the two games, because it feels like we're living in the same world, whereas, for example, Resident Evil 4 had almost no connection with anything that happened before it. It's still telling me to display the route guide. Go around this corner, as opposed to somewhere else. Oh, I can take corner. So this game got a lot of stick for its cover system, and primarily because you have to keep right button held down, so it's very, very easy to accidentally pop out of cover. I'm holding the right mouse button down to stay in cover. If I push left or right, it's just slightly unintuitive by comparison to other cover systems which lock you into cover, and then typically aiming will pop you out of the cover in order to aim. It's only a tiny difference, but the game got enormous criticism for it, so it seems like a fairly clear-cut case of ought to have played more cover games and copied them rather than do things differently for no particular reason. There's no real advantage to doing it in the way they've done it. It just defies people's intuitions and angered reviewers.
Hunnigan, can we make it to the tower this way?
Yes, just keep moving in that direction.
So this is a pretty exciting situation, actually. Got some more bullets from somewhere. I have an entire inventory full of weapons. And no spare ammo for any of them. I won't stop to explain how the healing items work just now. You can see that that's not an ideal weapon for this situation. Yeah, that's a bit better. So this is another feature of this game that got an awful lot of stick. Cutscenes where you're looking the wrong way. Personally, I don't have a massive problem with it. I get what they're trying to do. It looks cinematic. It's reasonably exciting as long as it's not too annoying.
Over here! Get in!
Struggle to fight off the zombie, so that's good, because that's consistent with other struggle to fight off the zombie quick time events. The loading screen is not helping. I'm hitting R a lot rather than space a lot. I don't know if that has any significance. I don't feel like that means anything.
This thing isn't gonna hold up much longer.
Just a few more blocks.
Now that's a very strange quick time event because the game has an interface for aiming and shooting, and I'm not sure why it didn't use it. I mean, it was at least the right choice of quick time event, but it seems like a strange place to use a quick time event at all. This game really loves slow motion as if it's the early 90s or something. I always feel like that's the art director reaching out to me and saying, "This is so awesome, look how slow it is," and not quite getting it. That again was a strange use of QuickTime event when there is a control for run away. I could have just moved or run or sprinted using the in-game controls, but instead I had to press a button or die. Luckily that one was fairly straightforward, but that's the kind of thing that really winds people up when they just arbitrarily have to press a button or die for no particular reason.
Roger.
Hopefully I'll have to talk a bit more about the purpose of QuickTime events later.
Something doesn't feel right.
So we've got a strange bit of level design here, because this game's criticised for using lazy blocking, like a low line of boxes or something that you can't get to, which I mean, people could put more effort into it, but often it ends up with the levels looking contrived anyway, and as long as you internalise the rules of the game, which say a line of boxes means you can't go this way, then if you don't think about it every time you come across one, then it's not really a problem, you just do what it says. But in this case they haven't even done that, and given that what you have to do is somewhat unintuitive, which is just leap over the barrier, it does seem like a strange place to not put even a line of boxes in. Or, I mean, this is a completely custom environment, so they could have put a barrier here anyway to prevent me from moving in that direction. And it doesn't really matter if it makes sense, because what they've done doesn't make sense either. Anyway, I'm going to leap over this barrier.
Back for more?
I think that's a great line. I really like that. That's a really intriguing way of ending a prelude, because it makes it clear that it's set somehow in the middle of the story, and we're gonna find out who that is. I mean, I'm a sucker for that kind of basic, oh no, a baddie, I wonder who the baddie is. It's obviously going to turn out to be some kind of virus-infested monster of some sort, but I'm still intrigued by it, and that's really, for one line of 3 words, I think that's a pretty good accomplishment. So that's the end of the prelude. So at that point you got brought to the normal menu and can start playing the game. So I'm going to leave it there and resume with the next chapter.